Thank you, Balachandran sir, for a wonderful Turiya meditation. And dear friends, we have with us Senior Professor Balachandran sir. I'm sure everyone knows him very well, but yet I would like to give a very brief introduction on him. Senior Professor Balachandran sir has been with Vethathiri Maharishi for many years in the ashram with his wife, and with a request from Vethathiri Maharishi, he traveled the world, opened many Sky Yoga centers in the United States. He went to Middle East, and of course in India, a few places. He has dedicated his entire life for Vedathriyam to spread world peace that has been propagated by Vethathiri Maharishi himself. It's an honor, sir, to have you with us today and to give a speech. And what a topic it is, a unifying revolutionary. Who is that and what did he do? I'm really very eager to hear from you, sir. So I'm sure each one of us here present. And over to you, sir. Thank you so much. Be blessed by the divine.
Thank you, Sunandaji, for the nice words. Once again, a warm welcome to all of you from across the world. So today, we are going to discuss on a very unique personality, a unifying revolutionary. Now, the moment we hear the word revolutionary, immediately what comes to our mind is a person who is fed up with this society, seeing all the ills in the society, and is not able to tolerate anything anymore. And he wants to completely change it. The word revolutionary comes from the word revolution. Give a new direction, totally turn it. And for example, we have heard Bharatiya, one of the greatest poets and a great freedom fighter. So when he saw that people are dying out of poverty, he makes a statement. What he says is, even if a single person doesn't get food in time, we will destroy the world. So much of anger seeing the injustice in the society. So a revolutionary is generally like that. But today what we are going to see is a revolutionary, not just in the field of society, social problems, in the political issues, in the economics, even in science, in education. Name any field. He has had a very, very revolutionary thought. And not just a revolutionary thought, given practical steps to achieve that. It's very easy to say that this is wrong, that is wrong. But are you able to give a solution? And not the way Bharatiya did it. Bharatiya, in his emotion, when he was seeing that pain, that came out from him. What exactly is that? What he says is, so emotion. But at the same time, when he was in spiritual heights, he talks about how God is inside and outside us. You can see it everywhere. So there his logic has gone to a very great level. But sometimes in practice, when he sees that anger, he totally thinks in a different way. In fact, many of the politicians, many of the revolutionaries, when you talk about revolution, we immediately talk about bloodshed, violence. But here, the person I'm mentioning is Vethathiri Maharishi. He is seeing all the ills, and that's why he left everything. He was very good at business. He had reached very great heights, but left everything and tried to work for world peace. And he has identified all the ills of the society. But what he's trying to do is not change at a surface level. Destroying anything is easy, but replacing it by a much better system is very, very difficult. So you can say that, oh, coffee is bad, stop taking coffee. But is it easy? Easy to say that coffee or tea, but is it easy to do that? So if for one person changing one small habit, knowing pretty well it is not good for health, if it is going to take time, how can you expect a society with millions of people and having habits over thousands of years to change just like that? It cannot be done. That is where Vethathiri Maharishi has got all the emotions, but also he is trying to find a solution which is very lasting, understanding what the society is, how we can change our habits. Isn't it? First, has to come at an intellectual level, mental level, and then change our habits bit by bit. And the society should be able to support it. So from individual level and the world level, what are all the changes required? He is able to think of all that, and he makes a statement that no single individual can be made responsible for all the problems. We are all a continuous flow. It's not that we started today. I have got imprints. So that is where the depth to which Maharishi goes in understanding humans, in understanding the evolution, in understanding science from the very root. That overall picture is required for all of us. Then only we can make peaceful revolution. Not upsetting the present, but not stopping with the present. Changes are required. But how, when, where? All those things need to be considered. Then a change at the political, economic, social levels can be done without destroying anything at all. So that is why he is called a unifying revolutionary. Now, let us take, for example, today maybe we'll take just one area, religion, for example. We are all very, very emotional about our religions. But if we go deeper into religions, irrespective of what religion you belong to, or you are a rationalist, you don't believe in any religion, we are all somehow holding on to that very, very tightly. Emotionally, we are very attached. And somebody says something, we aren't able to take it immediately. So let us take that topic and what Swamiji says about that. We are all very proud of a particular religion. Is it that we chose it knowingly? It just came down to us. That's all. Isn't it? Or even if I had changed my religion consciously, have I understood the previous religion? Have I understood the present religion? Knowing all that, are we converting ourselves? If you ask, we'll find that we don't know even about the religion in which we are born and we have lived for so many years. And then if we are very proud of our religion, as most of us are, then he asks one simple question. Tell me, if your religion is great, don't you have poverty in your religion? Don't you have people with ego? Don't you have people with 6 negative temperaments? Anger, miserliness, immoral sexual passion, vanity, vengeance. Don't we have in our religions people with that? Or not women ill-treated in the society? So tell me, if you can mention one religion, then all of us can be converted to that religion. But can we find such a religion? You see, so immediately from emotion, Swamiji talks about looking at things rationally. We have the wisdom, but many times the emotion takes over and we are not able to see things properly in a holistic way. So that is why he is a unifying revolutionary. So he says your religion requires some modification. Maybe the person who started the religion must be a very great wise person. He must have started it with all the good intention. In fact, no religious leader has wanted to start a new religion. Vethathiri Maharishi brings it out. I have not even thought about that. What they do, because their ego, they don't have any ego at all. It's only such persons who can transform the society. So all great leaders who started a religion, on whom religion is based now, they never wanted to start a new religion. What they did was, they saw people suffering. They are not able to withstand the pain which they're seeing around. and they are seeing what problems are there, and they are giving solutions to it. That's all. Some people followed them, some people did not follow. They were, because who is this person to say that? So the group split. And those who followed him called the name in his name, called the religion in his name. So that is how many religions are brought about. But if you, yeah. Is it coming out okay? There's some message. Sunanjaji, is it all right? It's coming out all right? Hello? Am I audible? Am I? Yeah, okay, fine. Some message was coming in between. So it is, that is how many religions have come about. And when we talk about religions, we see only the difference. Maharishi, while pointing out what are all the problems, he also says that all religions are talking about the same thing. Now, this is very surprising for all of us, isn't it? If only we understand this one point, we will not have wars in the name of religion. He says all religions have got two things which are common. One is that we are a part of a greater intelligence, isn't it? Again, Maharishi points out the food we eat, we just put it in the mouth. But who is that who is doing the digestion and becoming blood and flesh? And are we doing it? Even taking the food only and taking it up to the mouth is what we are doing voluntarily. But after that, there is one super intelligence within us which is converting all this appropriately. We are breathing. Is it consciously we are doing it? Can we do that? So you see, even within us, there is super intelligence working. And so is the case all around. Once you understand that, our ego will automatically come down. So all religions talk about that one great force, one great intelligence. Maybe they are giving different names because they speak different languages. That is all. If we understand that, so most of the religions are fighting in the name of God without understanding what it is. Vethathiri Maharishi brings out and tells us what is that superpower. And one more thing we all require to do, whenever such sensitive subjects are considered, we have to try to be as logical as possible. Forgetting that I belong to a particular group, just try to question. And in his very simple poems, one of the poems which are meant even for school children, Ellam valla Deivam adu, engum ulladu neekam. That is, the divinity is omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient. We all say that about our gods. But don't believe it because you heard it. Because somebody has told, after thousands of years, somebody has told, don't just believe it. Now, this is the attitude we all require to develop in any field. And that is how a villager with just having studied only up to class 3, has been able to find solutions to all the world problems. And he has gone to United Nations addressed. It is possible. We can learn things from nature, not only from books. So he talks about divinity as that power which is present everywhere, within you and outside you. As Bharatya talks about, and it is that one becoming everything. But then, even within religions, why there are so many gods? For example, Hinduism, thousands of gods are there. Maharishi says there's a reason for that. So he is able to unify the different groups, different religions, and within religion, different ways of worship. So the question is, why so many gods and so many ways of worship? Maharishi comes out because he is able to go deeper, and from that truth, from that basic, he is able to come out. That's how he is able to find solution. Can you go to the ultimate truth? Unmai, go inward. Ulmai, that means go inward and go to the very, very source. From there, if you see things, everything will be clear. But we are saying only from different levels we start. Whether it is science, whether it is politics, economics, we start from somewhere, but not going to the very depth of the problem, depth of the issue. So what Swamiji talks about, why different religions or why different gods, even within one religion. He says, whenever you're worshipping any god or any form, what you're doing is, it is your own mind taking that form. He talks about biomagnetism. So you require more explanations for that. It is your own mind taking that form and shape. And they are given different stories about it so that you can get that quality. Suppose Hanuman figure is given. So he's able to cross the Indian Ocean, go there and do all that. So if you want strength, you want to achieve something, then having that form and then reading about him, what it is actually, your personality is being enhanced to get that particular, that's all. Vivekananda used to give a very beautiful example. We have national flags. This national flag, is it equal to patriotism? No, it's just a piece of cloth. But in that, whatever nation, there's a flag is given and a story is told about that. So once you hear the story of how many people sacrificed for that, what your country stands for, how much protection it gives you. So when you read about all that, and there's a national anthem, then you get the feeling of patriotism. So it doesn't matter what's the shape of the flag, what is the color of the flag, what is the symbol. They are all helping your own mind to take that form and to evolve your personality to that level. Similarly, depending on the level of people in that region, depending on the culture which is already there in them, different masters have different forms and shapes so that they may be elevated. So that is called Bhakti Yoga. That means there are people who are not able to visualize the infinity, that super intelligence, because it's very, very abstract. So we are not able to visualize that. For example, if you want to know about infinity, it's very difficult to understand what infinity is. To understand infinity, what you should do is, you should know about numbers, 1, 2, 3. Unless you know a number, you cannot understand infinity. But for infinity, 1, 2, 3 is not required. But without 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we cannot think of an infinity. Nor can you think of zero also. Both zero and infinity are very abstract concepts. To understand that abstract concept, you need numerals. But once you want to know about infinity and zero, you can forget about numbers. Because numbers can never reach infinity. Numbers can never reach zero. Can go near zero. It can go near infinity. But any big number, you can always put +1. Any small number, you can always add another 0.0. Isn't it? So without knowing numbers, you can't understand infinity or zero. No, we are talking about the super intelligence, which is infinite as well as zero. That is the beauty. So that is where Maharishi says that even science has not gone up to infinity, because science itself is putting up a border that unless I can measure it, I will not accept it. But this is not measurable. Infinity is not measurable. Similarly, you cannot reach zero. So science, what Swamiji says is, science and spirituality, again, he's trying to unite. He says, if scientists can meditate and go to that level, it's possible for them. Go to zero and infinity. And then Swamiji is evolving a new theory of divinity, how the divinity is becoming many, one becoming many. So in that way, worship of God may be different in different ways. You may be using different mantras, you may be using different language. But what you're trying to do is to expand your mind, your limited mind, keep on expanding, 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 and reach that perfection. Similarly, contract, go to the smallest thing also. And then reach divinity. So that is what we are doing in meditation, going inward. And within our life energy, can you see the consciousness? Can you become one with that? And it is that consciousness is also present everywhere. And so the universal consciousness and even beyond, the total consciousness, you can become one with that. Why? Because you have come from that only. You can go to the very source. So in that way, he is connecting all religions and putting them together. So we are talking about religion. We say there are only two things. Two things are common to all the religions. One is worship of God. And the other is virtuous way of life. Now, what is that? What is virtuous way of life? Again, to quote Swamiji, he says, human beings are the highest in evolution. We see, once we start understanding even ourselves, our thinking about ourselves with all that inferiority complex or superiority complex will go. So what he says is, so how are the human beings come about? We have come from our parents, our forefathers, like that. If you go back, we must have come from animals. And then going back, 5 sensed, 4 sensed, 3 sensed, 1 sensed. And then from non-living things. Isn't it? So, and then before that, the Panchabhutas and the sun, etc. So, after a very long journey in the evolution, human being has come about. So, see the amount of power we have with all of us. But because we don't know our history fully, and we start somewhere, okay, I started only from here. Then the question of limiting yourself to the country, to the language, to the religion, and all those unnecessary things we are linking ourselves with, or we are identifying ourselves, wrongly identifying ourselves without understanding what we are. So such a beautiful solution he gives. And he says the human being, his way of life is totally different from the rest of the animal kingdom, rest of the living creatures, in the sense that because of the development of sixth sense, he or she is able to give an artistic touch and an artificial shape by that sixth sense and by the fingers, and so able to enjoy nature better. Whereas all the animals can enjoy nature as it is, but we can give a beautiful shape to it, or we can make use of that power to make our life easier. This is the greatness of human being. And because of that, there are some problems also. We can misuse that power without knowing what we are, because we are able to get that power, which single human being cannot do, but the machines can do it. A nuclear power can do it. So unless we understand ourselves, we will not be responsible for society. So there's an additional problem, additional thing for human beings. So, and for every moment of our life, we can't produce ourselves or whatever is required. Whereas animals, just a single animal has to kill somebody else, something else, or eat the plants and live. Whereas a human being, now he has created so many things that a single human being cannot live alone. He has to depend on society. So many people put together only, we are able to survive. So Swamiji talks about the starting point, the evolution, and after becoming a human being, because of the culture, now we depend on thousands of people. So once our life is depending on both nature as well as society, what is required is we live in harmony with nature and we also live in harmony with society. Now that is what is yoga. Yoga means harmony, blending beautifully. So blending beautifully with nature, blending beautifully with society. So blending beautifully with nature is the worship of God, or understanding what is that divinity and living in tune with that. My body, mind, and soul, can it be in unison with the divine law. Similarly, because I'm a part of the society, I have to live in harmony with society. So whatever I do, it should not be harming the society. I should be able to help others. And every moment of our life, both society and nature is supplying us. So Maharishi says, at the age of 15, what have you been? We have been only taking. Even now, the food we take is from the whole of the world. And also, all the past research put together only what we are able to get. So, to be in harmony with society. For that, so that is what every religion talks about. Don't harm others, don't kill others, don't tell lies. Isn't it? So in this way, while he says that all religions are imperfect as practiced today, but their goals are same. You see, immediately he is able to combine all the religions put together. Yes, peripheral differences are there. But if you understand how these peripheral changes have happened, then you will be able to look beyond that. So you don't have to condemn any religion. You don't have to condemn any people of any particular religion. Because they all started with the same thing. But now, with science, we are able to explain it fully. Even the Dashavatara. Where it says, don't believe the stories of Puranas. But what is the science? What is the science behind it? So Dashavatara is you start with fish, Matsyavataram, Kurmavataram. These are just an evolution. First, there must have been only water, 100% water only on the earth. So at that time, what creature would have lived? It is a fish. And then after that, because of volcanoes and all that, slowly solid came about. Even now, about 25% is only solid. The rest of it is water only. So land came about. So they're represented by another avatar, which can live both in the land as well as sea. Matsya, Urma, Varaha. So like that, then slowly, then they saw which animal has got a face similar to human being. That is the lion, similar to human face. So Narasimha avatar. So these are all physically how you have evolved. Then later avatar, culturally how you have evolved, intelligence-wise. So they are the next avatars. Vamana, with how to speak, Vaimanam. And then Vamana, Parashurama. So then he started cultivating the land. He started going to the woods. So Parashuraman, Balaraman. And then ultimately, even Krishna Avatara, at a culturally highly evolved. And they talk about even Kalki Avatar, the next one also. That is, all of us evolving, raising our consciousness from the body level to the spiritual level to divine level. If that can be done, that is Kalki Avatar. It is possible. It is that Swamiji wants us to reach to. So you see, within a religion, Bhakti and Jnana, again, this I am Bhakta, as well as Jnana. They are not two opposites. That's what we look at. So Maharishi says, without Bhakti, you cannot get that Jnana. Jnana means ultimate reality is very difficult, abstract. I told you about infinity or zero. It's very difficult to reach that immediately. So you have to, what is Bhakti? Faith. I don't understand. I have faith in somebody. And so I will follow whatever he says because I have faith in that person. So I believe. So in the younger ages, that is what is required. But after you become physically mature and as you are evolving further and further, your intelligence is working at a higher level, then the bhakti itself should culminate into, mature into jnana. See, bhakti and jnana are not two different things. Whereas we fight on that. On what language? In which language? Is it something like a language of the gods? All languages are produced by us. See, this is the outlook we all require. To look at everything impassionately. Logically, when you start thinking you are able to see the differences and also see the source of differences. Once you understand the source, you will not be getting angry with what is happening now. If I have got all the imprints of my forefathers and all that, and that is why if I am doing it, then what type of education I should be given so that I can change it? So can we all provide a proper education? And if it can be started from a lower level, that is, as a child itself, when we start giving such a type of education, within one generation, changes can happen. You see how he is unifying everyone? It is this approach we all require. And applying this in every field, you will find a new way of looking at things. A revolution, but not without violence. When somebody with less intelligence does something wrong, you will be able to appreciate, pity that person, and see the reason why he is doing it and what changes are required. This is even punishment, putting a person in jail is not actually a punishment. It is for that person to introspect and change himself. So that is where Maharishi gives importance to introspection. So based on all these things, having discussed all that, Maharishi comes out with the Karma Yoga. The word Karma Yoga is very familiar for all of us, but Swamiji takes the word Karma Yoga to a much deeper level. Karma means work. Work can be thought, word, or deed. These are only three things. Karma Yoga. Yoga means harmony. So by my thought, word, and deed, can I be in harmony within myself? Can I be in harmony with society? Can I be in harmony with nature? That is Karma Yoga. So by this definition of Karma Yoga, he again brings Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, Raja Yoga, Jnana Yoga, the 4 different types of yoga also into Karma Yoga. He says in this modern world, where through education, things can be easily learned, then the Bhakti will go to Jnana, but for that, you've got to do your karma properly. And what is Raja Yoga? Through meditation, you can reach that. Any amount of theory is not enough. You have to practice it. So that is where our Kundalini Yoga, meditation, how your mind can go from body consciousness to spiritual consciousness, and then universal consciousness and even divine consciousness. So by this Karma Yoga, or he calls it as world order of holistic unity, where all religions merge. It doesn't matter what language you speak, or whether you're male or female, educated or uneducated. In fact, this doesn't require formal education at all. The highest knowledge, highest level of consciousness can be reached even by a person who is illiterate. At the same time, with all the depth of your knowledge, you go deeper and deeper, you can understand many secrets. So that is where learning other sciences, other crafts are also, and reading the great masters' books, raising your level of understanding. There's no limit at all. You can go to that. But to be a karma yogi, nothing required. Putting things into practice so that all my negative imprints, which have come either because of the past or from birth, whatever I have done, or because of social hypnotism, we're all colored by that. So can you come out of that and reach that super consciousness level, which you call it as God, you call it as nature. And what is that divine law? For every action, there's a reaction. You cannot escape the reaction. You cannot escape the result. So not that I do something and then I want something else by praying God. No. If I want something, I should do the work which will bring that result. That is worship of God. So in that way, Maharishi beautifully today, for example, we took the religions like that in every aspect. Maharishi is able to go to the roots, find out the reason why things are like this today, and then what changes are required. And those changes will not be violent. It will be with love and compassion. And you can reach that state which can bring harmony, yoga. So thank you very much for this opportunity. I could have some interaction for some time. Once again, thanks to everyone for a patient here. Be blessed by the divine. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Connecting us with the unifying force. Your speech was really very magnetizing, I should say. And in fact, it opened our eyes to so many aspects of Maharishi that you put everything in a beautiful nutshell. I'm just wondering, did you miss out any topic? No, you have covered everything in just a matter of 30 minutes. And only you could say that you can give a speech like that, Balachandran sir. Thank you so much. Now over to Suresh Paul Raj. I will unmute you. Please, sir, you can unmute. Yes.
வாழ்க வளமுடன்.
வாழ்க வளமுடன்.
Thank you so much. Beautifully explained. So the question I have is, the mind is something imperceptible. Yes. So we, as humans, we perceive the world through perception, which by itself is limited. And because of that limitation, we see or we hear, we feel is what is truth. So for somebody to come out of it and then to understand the imperceptible phenomena, which is beyond experience because it is beyond the senses, how do we kind of like get people there to understand that we are limitless, we are omnipotent, we are bigger part of which Maharishi goes to say through this, the awareness of oneness in our thinking elevate our culture. But how do we feel that? Because we see a separate human being by the ego created individually. So how do we get there? But beautifully explained through education and understanding, of course. But like to start the journey, where do we start?
Yes. Good. So what Maharishi says is, you see, with the advancement of science, see, our outlook has changed. We all remember what happened to Galileo, isn't it? So when he said, because we are seeing that the sun is going around us, the morning it comes from the east and then it disappears in the west in the evening, is it not? And that we look as if we are stationary and this thing is moving. So when Galileo pointed out that this is wrong, or Copernicus pointed out, they had big difficulties. Because then only they understood that our perceptions are limited. With 5 senses, what I see is not the complete truth. Is it not? So that's what Swamiji says, that all the great masters have said so many things, but unfortunately the science has not developed to that extent. But today with the advancement of science, for example, Vivekananda says that you can communicate without wires, but nobody believed in that. But today, yes, you're seeing the mobile, you're seeing the technology, is it not? So the advancement of science will help our understanding. And spirituality, yes, now Swamiji has simplified the meditation. Now we used to think of a particular form and all. He says, no, the mind, if you want to train your mind, focus on your life force. Now a simple method has been evolved. I'm able to focus on my life force and even feel the perception, which normally I'm not able to do. So a perceptive thing is becoming perceptive. So not just the theory. but also a practice. But the practice is a bit difficult because our mind is very perturbed, disturbed. So then he gives introspection practice. So one is by advancement of science, we are able to understand the truth. Electromagnetic waves were not known. Even the power of air, what air does, air is so important, we never knew. It's because of science we are able to understand that. Electromagnetic waves were not known. Correct? Now, today science is saying that more than 80% of the universe consists of dark matter. Modern science is talking about it. That what we know about the universe now is only 20% is matter which we are able to visualize, we are able to see even through instruments. Similarly, they talk about dark energy. The science talking about it. Can you believe that? So even scientists are coming to the view that even with instruments, certain things are not perceptible. What do you mean by dark matter? I don't know anything about it. I'm dark about it. What is dark energy? I don't know anything about it. Correct? So both, even the scientists, the ego is reduced now. So by certain practices, both scientists and our own level of understanding, the children are able to understand better because the science has advanced. So with the help of science and with the help of spiritual practice, we will all be able to evolve that. Earlier, we were all living in different packets. So what I saw, I could not understand what the other person. Today, the world is connected. Culture is connected. Is it not? So now is the time. In fact, we should not lose this time. Because now the power also, artificial intelligence has come. Even a single person can destroy the world now. So it's a very, very important. We are in a very, historically, a very important point that postponing this education is going to create havoc in society. We are sitting on a volcano without understanding it. So this education, spiritual education, should become a part of even our children. I should be able to think I'm a world citizen. I mean, by meditation, to go deeper, it is possible. That there are things within me about which I don't know. But I can, by my mind, by strengthening my mind, I will be able to visualize that. And from the effect, cause can be many things, even in science, how they see an effect and then they try to find out the other two ways. One is from the cause, you can think of the effect. The other is seeing the effect, what should be the cause? So apple falling on the ground, is it that the earth is pulling it down? Or is it the space compressing it? So seeing the result, they can look at the cause. So now we are able to go to that cause, both in science as well as in spirituality. And so now we understand that we don't know much about even ourselves. Similarly, even the scientists have understood that there are areas which they are not able to understand even with all the modern equipments. Because even the latest theory, what happened was they said, according to them, the universe should compress, but it went on expanding. So the present theories could not explain it. So then they said there must be dark matter or dark energy. You see? So it is possible. So with an open mind, so right from education, in the earlier ages itself, when you start introducing science and spirituality, changes are possible. But we, at advanced age, after about 45, 50 and all, it becomes much more difficult for training our mind. Maybe. So that is where the next step, but at least we can learn it. We may not be able to fully realize it, but the next generation can easily learn it. But today, next generation is taking sideways because of business and so many other things. So it is high time that spirituality becomes a part of education. And we can all play a role in that.
welcome. Beautifully explained. Yeah, if I may allowed, I have one more
Please
question.
go ahead.
Regarding concept of time, because Maharishi explained the divinity consists of consciousness, plenum, force, and time. But I'm curious on the concept of time from Vethathiri perspective.
Yeah. You see, even Swamiji has evolved. See, earlier, if you see his writings, he will talk about static space, static. He called the space static. That means because even he was influenced by the concept of Shivam and Shakti. Shivam is static, Shakti is dynamic. So he was also influenced by that. But when he went on questioning, the greatness of Swamiji is he questions everything. Sollal mattum numbare, soyamai sin. He went on doing that. So then he said, from static, how things could have happened. So this was bothering him. So if you see the earlier books, he will talk about static state. Absolute space is static. But then he went on questioning. And then he found from that static how things must have started. And then he comes out with a new concept that the space is not actually static. It has got a self-compressive force. So this is a property Swamiji attributes to space. Okay, which he was not doing earlier. So he says by that self-compression, that he calls it as gravity. The scientists are stunned by this. For them, the gravity is the property of the particles. But Swamiji says, no, particles actually repel each other. It is the gravity, the space which is compressing everything, and that he calls it as gravity. Okay. And that self-compression is its inherent property. And so when it compresses itself, but it is not empty. For us, space looks empty, but space is full. It is Purnam, it is not Shunyam. For us, it appears as Shunyam. For example, in this room, suppose the table is removed, the chair is removed. I say that the room is empty. No, room is not empty. It has got air. I cannot see it. Or even if you remove the air, the vacuum still is, the energy is there, which I'm not able to see. Correct? Similarly, for us, space appears to be empty. That is a limitation of our mind with 5 senses, or even 6 senses. Is there? But even great masters have said space is Purnam. Purnamadaha, Purnamidam, Purnat Purnam from the spirit. Purnam only, everything has come about. You see, the great masters have said that. So that Purnam, he says, it has got a self-compression and it is full. So when it is compressing itself, but because it is full, there is a repulsion taking place. And that repulsion is what is actually the dark energy. And the matter is the space, dark matter. So we talk about Krishna, is dark. So by this compression and repulsion, this oscillation, that he calls it as unit of time. Okay, so time is a property of space. Compression is a property of space. And even consciousness is a property of space. If everything within the space has to observe some law beautifully, millions of stars functioning beautifully, there must be some intelligence. And that intelligence should be there in the space itself. So consciousness is also a property of space. So time is a property of space. Consciousness is a property of space. Omnipotent, because everything is just dancing in that space. So it is almighty. So that mightiness is a property. And unlimited. Any amount of universe, still it is there. There is no limit at all. So omnipotence, omniscience, omnipresence. And the self-compression. And because of that time. So all these things are properties of space.
Thank you. Yeah. Very helpful.
Thank you so much, Ayya. Any more questions from anyone? Okay. Yeah, if there is no more questions, can you wind up? So, yeah, before that, I would like to just tell you all this. We have the Zoom link every day, morning, 6 o'clock Indian Standard Time. We have the exercises, simplified Kundalini exercises and guided meditation. And evening 6:30 Indian Standard Time, guided meditation is there. So I request each one of you to make use of this Zoom link and participate in it. And please do attend next week's Saturday speech as well. And thank you so much, Suresh Paulraj sir, for asking us the questions, so that each one of us we also enjoy the question and the answers by Balachandran sir. And again, thank you so much for taking part in today's session. Good night. Be blessed by the divine. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
In fact, we should ask them questions, it becomes then all the more interesting, isn't it? So
exactly, sir.
Just one, Suresh Palda will be kind enough to ask some questions. It is opening up our horizon. So please be a part of the system, okay? Asking questions. So somebody says there's nothing like a stupid question. There can be only stupid answers. Okay. So as long as there is some doubts, when we start interacting, it becomes much more clear. And you people have to tell it to so many people. You're all ambassadors of peace, world peace. Okay.
Actually, this Zoom link was this speech was started so that we have an interaction with the participants actually. So we request you all, next time you all can come prepared with some questions. It need not be anything concerned with related to this topic for that day. It can be anything regarding Sky Yoga or anything that you like to ask. Please do share it among this forum. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ayya.
Good. Thank you.
We'll wind up. Thank you. Thank you.